The evolution of combat continues with more player-inspired updates and tweaks coming to RuneScape. Paul M sat down with mods Chris L, Avatar and C3DPO and began by asking about the momentum ability.
So momentum is almost like, it's like combat light for people that don't really want all the fuss of actually having to try hard for combat, just want to click to kill. And you'd be making some changes, yeah?
Yeah, indeed. To make this even easier, you'll no longer need to build the adrenaline bar up. It's going to become a toggle ability, like Insight. I will say now, it is more efficient to use the EoC and the ability bars.
Cool, so those people that make the effort to actually...
Yeah, they'll be rewarded for doing so, yeah. And I wouldn't advise using momentum at bosses.
You're making a change to dual-wielded weapons, so could you just tell us first of all, what's the thinking behind that?
When the first iteration of the system went out, something was a bit off in the balancing and it's made two-handers ridiculously powerful. We're happy with them being like that, so rather than pulling two-handers down to the level of dual-wield, we thought we'll pull dual-wield up to two-handers so that we'll get dual-wield will have the nice damage output that two-handers are seeing at the moment.
Okay, and what about hybrid dual-wielding? Is that something that we're going to see?
Yeah, the magic changes that we've done, you'll be able to truly dual wield anything you want. You can have any kind of combination of the different styles now. Dual wielding in magic worked awkwardly before. We've reworked that so that you can actually truly dual cast now. You can have a main hand and an offhand spell, which has allowed us to make wands and magic books work the same way as main hand and offhand melee or ranged weapons.
I know that you've also been working on magic abilities too. Gigamaflig on the forums has said that current mage abilities like Detonate and Tsunami suck, and that point is backed up by Caven Ninen, who wants to know what your plans are on magic ability damage.
Magic used to work in a different way to melee and ranged. With the update that's just gone out recently, we completely reworked magic to use the same system as melee and range. So the ability damage and stuff that's coming from magic is the same as that's coming from melee and range, so it should be as effective as the other two styles now. So
I saw a post from Georgica on the forums who thinks that their combat is now more focused on the equipment that they're wielding rather than the levels that they're taking into a fight.
Yeah, so we agreed. One of the big points of feedback that came up from our meetings was this point specifically. So we've made it so your levels have a greater influence on your chance to hit and the damage you deal.
We're looking at updating the hit chances so that your actual skill levels mean a lot more, so they carry a lot more in the hit chances as well as your equipment.
So we're bringing back like the attack, range and magic stat as actually influencing your chance to hit. At the moment they're sort of pushed to the side. If you've got a really good weapon, you don't need the stat as much, whereas this is going to bring that back to the forefront. You should notice the difference when you boost your stat.
I know you've also been working on potions and overloads.
We're making stats count a lot more, so technically now when you boost your stat it means a lot more as well. So again, the difference between overloading in the live game right now isn't that great, but it does make a tiny difference. But post-release, you're going to see that having that potion on you for 5 minutes is going to make a significant impact.
Okay, so after the EoC, you remove bonuses from armour. The strength bonus being removed from the Bandos chest plate is one particular example I read about. Why did you remove the bonuses from armour?
So originally the idea would be, with the rework, we'd look at trying to make armour purely defensive. In the future, actually, in about a month's time hopefully, you'll be seeing the first iteration of the new armour system, which will be the choice between pure defensive armour or something that sacrifices some defence and some life points for offensive bonuses.
Okay, that sounds like that could relate to something I saw on a whiteboard the other day, which was critical caps.
A lot of the bosses out there will notice this, especially if you're using Berserk, you constantly hit the cap on bosses. Also, this is worsened on certain ultimates as well that do a percentage of the health base. So have you taken away the caps? Or
yeah, I removed it the other day. So in the same situation Dean just described, you should see a lot more tastier numbers and that ultimate should be much more worth the payoff.
Okay, onto monsters now. Are there any plans to revisit balancing of monsters around combat?
Yeah, well, I've got a thread on the forums and I'm looking at specific cases based on some player feedback I've been getting.
Okay, so if you've got any feedback, there's a link at the bottom of the screen now and you can click on that. Cool, okay. So one thing the CM guys have raised is adrenaline stalling. There's been a few questions about it being a bug. So this is basically where you keep your adrenaline bar up by doing certain abilities.
We don't mind people doing it. It seems like a bit of a weird way that people are doing it at the moment, so what we'd quite like to do in the future is maybe look at integrating it into the system more and actually having it as more of a feature.
Okay, so just before we wrap it up, is there anything else that's new that's coming that you want to tell us about?
Well, we've got some new abilities coming next week, so we've got 2 new mage basics and 2 new range basics. These are being brought in to help bolster the rotations that people have for mage and ranged.
And once that's done, is that us done with combat rework, or?
No, like I said, there's another significant update planned for, it'll be April, hopefully, with the new armour system, the differentiation there, and also the changes to hit chances we've been talking about. So hopefully you'll see your stats play a much bigger contribution in the very near future.
And all of us are manning the forums as well, looking at them issues, bringing them straight to the guys in dev and design so we can address them as quick as possible for you.
Well, I guess you better get back to it. That EoC's not going to tweak itself.
And as more player feedback is worked into the EoC, behind the scenes will be there to bring you the details. The Origins of Gielinor tells the story leading up to the epic quest The World Wakes. Next week we go behind the scenes to look at the art and sound behind the motion comic.